Okay, I have 7:01, so we'll go ahead and jump into the orientation this evening. First off, I want to welcome everyone. I hope everyone had a nice, refreshing break. I know that a couple of the deans are going to be on here tonight, Dr. Danielle Rao and Javed Syed should also be logging in with us here in a little bit. I know he's going to be a little bit late getting home from work, but they're going to introduce themselves in a little bit. And we're going to try to give you a good overview of what you can expect in your first class and what you can expect throughout your program of study. Now, first off, my name is Scott Mensch. I'm the Chief Academic Officer at Fairfax. And my two deans that are working with me, Danielle Rao, you'll see she's going to jump in here in a second. Danielle is our our Dean of Research, I should say. So when you get to that phase 3, phase 4, for our doctorate students who are doing the dissertation work, you'll be seeing a lot of Dr. Rao. And Javed Syed, who's not in here yet, but he will be shortly. He's our academic dean, and Javed's the one that he's oversees the classes and faculty and the curriculum as well at the university.
Hey, good evening, Scott. This is Javed here now.
There he is. How you doing, Javed? And like I said,
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. We all kind of went our separate ways. We were all in different countries, I think, over break, and this is really the first time I've got to talk to everyone, so it's kind of a nice way to kick off the new year. Javed, I'll let you go ahead and start off by introducing yourself, and then we'll open up with Danielle next.
Hi, this is Javed Syed. I'm the Dean, Academic Dean. Well, welcome to Fairfax University. I know you're beginning a new term you will be starting. I just want to make one point, and that is for you to understand that we are here to help. If you run into any problems, please stay in touch with your instructor. We have a very educated, nice faculty that helps out in every way possible to make sure that you are successful in the academic program that you're undertaking. At any time, if you need to go beyond the instructor, I'm always available. You can always text me or fax me or send me an email. Whatever is needed to be done, I'll make sure it is done. Best luck to all of you, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the new term. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Javed. And Danielle, go ahead and I will let you do your introduction before I go ahead and get started.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm Dr. Danielle Rowell. I'm the Dean of Doctoral Research. But many of you will see me way before you get to your doctoral phase courses and comp work because I'm actually a faculty member here, and I teach a lot of courses, a lot of different courses, from the introductory level all the way to the research level. So there's a very high probability that you will see me as an instructor of one of your courses. And I've been working online for many, many years, over a decade, and here with Fairfax for over a year. And I have to say, congratulations on choosing an outstanding university with an outstanding team of individuals. And I can't stress enough what Dr. Syed said, that we are here to help you succeed. Think of us as an extension of the tools in your toolbox for you to succeed. Communication and staying in communication with your advisors, your deans, your faculty, above all else, is paramount to your success, particularly in this virtual and online environment. It's so easy for many of you who have not taken an online program before or have been outside of school for a while. It's going to be hard to get back into that mindset. But my biggest advice to you from doing this for so long is this. Log into your email every day. Every day, just pop in, take a look at it, see what's going on, because we'll communicate to you through the email, your U Fairfax email. And pop into the course room every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Just talk with your fellow cohorts to make sure you read the announcements of the class posted by the professor, to make sure that you have a good understanding of what's required of you. And above all else, ask questions. Again, we are here to help you succeed, but we can't do that if we don't know that you're flailing. So by all means, reach out to us. We are here to help you. And I'm proud of each and every one of you for taking that big step and going back for your education or continuing your education while being full-time parents and mothers and fathers and grandparents and outstanding professionals in your own right. It's a big step, and I'm proud of you. And again, we're here to help you succeed. I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you.
Thanks, Danielle. Hey, Danielle, I'm going to ask you to jump back in here in a little bit whenever we get in the course room and talk a little bit about the structure, because I'm going to be using your class. And
My pleasure.
Just kind of piggyback off of what Jab and Danielle were talking about. Between the three of us, I kind of just added up real quick here. We probably have over 60 years experience just teaching online. And Jab and I both did our doctorate degrees online. Jab is right in that phase right now where I think he's going to be defending this month. And I finished up back in 06 or 07. So not only do we understand what it's like to be a student online, you know, taking these courses, also we have the experience of teaching online for numerous years. And whenever I came on board and I brought Danielle and Javin on to be the deans, one of the most desirable traits they both bring is accessibility. All three of us. If you ever need to get a hold of us, I mean, we're always on email, we're always on our phones, so it's not hard to get a hold of us. If something does come up, always feel free to reach out to us. All right, with the PowerPoint, I just want to briefly kind of go through the structure of your coursework, and then I want to get more in depth of what the course shells is going to look like. So the first day you log in, you're going to understand what things you should be looking for and where everything's placed at within the class. Now our classes here are going to run 8 weeks, and there's going to be 4 modules. Simple math, 4 times 2 is 8. Each one of those modules is going to take up 2 weeks. And whenever I get into the course, I'll show you where you can find all your assignments at, discussion board threads, and where they're placed at within each one of these modules. Now you're going to have at least one discussion topic each week. And we're going to look at what those discussions look like in a little bit. And it's really not in the course, but I always tell students, whenever you're doing these discussion threads, make sure you're very, very thorough in that main post. Make sure you're bringing in your research and you're applying it using real-world examples in those discussion board postings. And then also, you're going to have comments as well to other learners in the course. And I always say, as a rule of thumb, if I can apply your comment to anybody's thread, it's not specific enough. Okay, so you don't want to say good job or I agree or, you know, I disagree. You really have to back it up with factual information. So feel free to challenge people in a constructive way, or if you agree with someone, agree with what they say, but make sure you reinforce it with as much detail as you're doing in your main post for that week. Also, you're going to have one sync session assignment and one project due as well. And you'll see whenever you get into the course, you're going to have different resources available to you. Some may just be PowerPoints, you may have videos, your faculty members may be posting links out to other sites or other areas. And as Danielle said earlier about checking your email, you should always be popping in your course, because your faculty members are going to be posting announcements throughout the week for you on the announcement page. But you want to make sure you're not missing any key dates or key deliverables. So you always want to make sure you're active and you're participating in the course throughout the entire week. Where we typically see people getting the problems is they don't log in until Friday or Saturday to start their work. And by that time, a lot of people are already done with the discussions, or the main posts are already up and a lot of people are starting on their comments. So you want to make sure you're getting in there early. So if you have questions for that faculty member, they have enough time to be able to reply back to you. Cannot stress this one enough. Participate, participate, participate. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And whenever I pop into different classrooms, just seeing what's going on in the courses, I'm just amazed, because some of the discussion boards are almost like a review session for me, or like a training seminar for me, because there's so much new material that your instructors are putting out there. So make sure you're participating in all the discussion boards. Make sure you're also participating in the sync sessions. Danielle, can you jump in a little bit? And since Danielle actually teaches and she conducts these sync sessions, I want her to explain to you what you're going to be doing during these periods.
During the discussion periods?
The sync session.
During the sync session period?
Yeah.
Sure. Every week you're going to have a couple different things due. Now this is going to depend on the course that you're in, okay? But the general rule of thumb is that you always have a discussion due every week. And you always have at least one written assignment, either a sync session assignment or a project. A project's a larger, of course, written assignment. But let's pay, and that's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of, we call it a project, but it's really a written paper, right? But let's talk about this sync session for a minute, because that's a little odd, that's a little weird, that's a little unique here to U Fairfax. We're going to have a written assignment we call a sync session. That's usually, you know, a 3-page assignment or less that asks you to do a very specific thing. For instance, I don't know off the top of my head, a sync session assignment could be something like, read this article, and we'll provide the article, and answer the following questions about the article. And you'll write that up, you know, for the assignment, about 1 page or 3 pages, depending on what the instructions say. And you'll submit that through at the designated due date time and date for that assignment. Again, pay very close attention to the due dates and times for your assignments. And we'll show you when we go through a course where you can look for that information. But once you submit that written assignment, you'll have during that same week an online participatory element where you log in and actually present your sync session paper to the class. Why? Well, you know, since we're on an online environment, we wanted to bring in an element of what you're missing in the traditional classroom, which is getting to know your cohorts, getting a real communal experience with your colleagues, and really developing that online learning community. And that's what those sync session oral presentations will do. So when you have a weekly assignment that has a sync session, during that week time, you'll also have the sync session presentation. And again, you'll log on to a login link that we'll provide, and you'll log in and you'll present what you've written. Now, this is not going to make too much sense for you right now because you don't have the course in front of you. But when we get this course up and running, and we'll show you where these links are, I'll again walk you through what I'm talking about, and believe you me, it will click. Laura has a question. Is there an allocated time slot to present in the sync session? Well, excellent question, Laura. Yes, for instance, my course, and one of my courses that I'm teaching this coming term, I have the sync session is on 8 p.m. On a Thursday, Eastern Standard Time. So it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Thursday. So that Thursday, whenever that is, I don't have the schedule in front of me. You'll log in at 8 p.m. and I wait for the student body to come in, and then I'll pick you guys randomly. That's how I run it. I'll pick you randomly, and I'll go through until everybody is ready and presents. That way, we have one, everybody has an ability to present, and two, it's not always the same person first, second, third, because you know I like to mix it up a bit, put everybody into the chopping block, as it were. Excellent question, Laura. Excellent. But again, this will make more sense to you when we get into the class and kind of show you what we mean. Is there any additional questions right now? Did I hit everything you needed, Scott?
Yeah, you did. And also the sync sessions are, correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, but they're either going to be on Thursday night, Friday night, or Saturday during the day.
That's correct. Okay. That's correct. Either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, usually after 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to make sure everyone gets home from work.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And whenever we get back in the course, we'll be talking a little bit more about where all this stuff's hidden at here, and that'll just be in a few minutes. I'm also going to be giving you some phone numbers here in a couple minutes. Please make sure you're writing all these numbers down and these email addresses, because if something happens, you can't get online, for any reason your internet goes down, computer breaks, etc., you can always get a hold of someone. Or if you have technical issues, you can get a hold of someone. My email is going to be my first initial last name at ufairfax.edu. And Danielle, I think yours is D-Rob, correct?
It's not. I'm going to type it in the chat box.
Okay. Now I see Ben's question here. Will instructors provide assistance with presentations? Danielle, can you address Ben's question there? There's no ability to dial into those. You have to log in, correct?
Sure. In instances where you can't, let's say you can't log in for whatever reason, there is a call-in option, absolutely, and it's an 800 number. You can call in. Now, for instances where a military student is on active TDY overseas in a remote location which does not have reliable internet, talk to your instructor, and they'll be able to work something else out with you if the calling method and the web method does not work. Does that help you out? Is there any other questions? Ben?
No, yeah, he said sounds good.
Good. Okay, I didn't see it. Excellent. But again, that's a time when you definitely want to make your instructor aware of what's going on, because again, they're not going to know. They only know what you tell them.
And I'm going to do the same thing. That way you have my email in there as well. And like I said, a couple minutes here. In fact, right now, we're just going to jump over to it. Let's jump right into the course room. Now, I'm kind of cheating. I'm using Danielle's class. Anybody that's going to be taking 70-20, this is actually what your course is going to look like here. Now, whenever you get into your class, regardless of what session you're in, you're always going to see this basic information when you log in, all right? You're going to see the instructor's welcome letter to you, any type of policies, expectations, etc. will all be laid out on that page. But also what you're going to see here are all the due dates. And let me know, Danielle, can you guys see my shared screen okay?
Yes, I can.
All right. So you'll see here, Dr. Rao lays out for you exactly what day it's going to be, all right, when you're going to be meeting, and what's going to be due. Okay. So that way there's no guessing, you know, when you're going to be meeting. You're going to know in the very first day of class how all the modules are laid out. And you can see there as I go down through them, as we talked about earlier, you're going to have your 4 modules. Then she also breaks it down by the week, as well as what you're going to be covering during that week, your readings, your assignments, etc. They're all laid out on that one page for you.
Would you mind just stopping the page for just a moment and scrolling back up for a moment? Stop right there.
Yep.
Excellent, sir. Thank you. If you look under Module 2, Week 4, date 1/29 to 2/4, you following me so far? Topic, Security Architecture and Design Access Control. Reading is Harris, Chapter 3, Harris, Chapter 4. Far right corner tells you what to do that week. 1, discussion threads. 2, the sync session assignment 2 is due on February the 1st before midnight Eastern Standard Time, which is a Wednesday. Pay attention to due dates. Very, very important. 3, sync session 2 is on 2/2 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. Sync session attendance and participation required. Each student will present their sync session assignment to the class that was submitted to me the day prior. We will discuss in an open forum to generate discussion. See, this is an instance what we were talking about before, where you have a sync session paper due on the Wednesday, and then on Thursday you'll log in to a special part of the class, and we're going to show you that, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Thursday, the 2nd, to present your paper. Does that make a little bit more sense what I was talking about before about sync sessions? And then if you look down here for this a second down to the next week, Module 3, Week 5, right there, 2/5/211, Software Development Security Cryptography, Harrison Chapter 10, Harrison Chapter 7. That week you have a discussion thread due and a project due. It's called Best Practices Domain 5 and 6 paper. Okay? Again, that's not going to make too much sense to you until you actually look at the assignment. So another piece of advice I could offer to you is once you get logged into the system, you can open up the class, start exploring. Explore all the nooks and crannies. That way you have a good feel for where everything is. And when you have a question, when in doubt, ask the professor. I just wanted to point those out to you.
Yeah, that's great. Then like I was saying before, every one of your classes is going to be laid out in the exact same format. So as you progress from class to class, everything's going to look the same to you. It's going to become a lot easier the second time because you're going to be able to know exactly what you're looking for. But it's nicer because Danielle, she outlined all the important stuff here in red that she just covered here. And again, all the any types of policies, tips, etc. your faculty members will be putting out here. And as you can see here, there's a lot to read in that first day of class. And don't become really overwhelmed because it's the first day. That's when all the announcements are going to be out there. Then throughout the week, you'll probably see like only 3 a week, you know, throughout the class. But the first time you log in, plan on sitting there for at least 2 hours because you're going to have a lot of stuff just to read in announcements. That's before you even start going through all the content in the course itself. You may want to take a picture of this with your cell phone if you have it close, or write it down. Right here is the important information I was telling you about. You have your Blackboard support. So if you're having any type of issues getting into the classroom, it's Blackboard support at an.edu. And then as well, we have the phone number there, 888-410-6000. 6109. You can call them anytime you maybe have any issues within the course room. And then, again, Danielle lays out all her discussion thread policies and procedures. Your faculty members' office hours are also going to be posted. Actually, they're posted in a couple of different areas. Danielle also has them on her announcement board. But there's another tab, which I'll show you here in a second, where you can also find that information. And again, this is something I'd recommend you do every single class. Write your faculty members' contact information down. That way, you know, if your computer goes down, at least you have your cell phone. You can still be able to communicate back and forth with your faculty member. All right, instructor, bio information, sync session location. All this is going to be laid out for you the very first day. Her late assignment policy, APA help, tutorials, university policies on plagiarism and academic integrity. This is all laid out really clearly. In fact, they did a nice job with that. And it's really easy to follow. All right, so if I get back up to the top here, this is where I was saying throughout the week, you want to keep on logging in, because after you get this overwhelming amount of announcements on that very first day you get in, throughout the week, probably 3, maybe 4 times a week, faculty will be putting different announcements up. They may just be tips. It may be a link to a good article for that week. It may be a reminder of something that's coming up due. But make sure you log in to your email every day, and also you want to pop in to see if there's any new announcements that have been posted. All right, so on the left-hand side here, you want to make sure that if this is hidden for any reason, you want to make sure it's always expanded. All right, so if you can't see it, you just want to make sure you expand it out, because this is going to show you how you navigate around the classroom environment. So right now we're on the announcement page. So if I go down to course overview, here we see Dr. L has her syllabus laid out. So the course objectives, the description, deliverables, the textbook you're going to need, all that kind of good stuff, how the grades are weighted, what assignments are going to be in the course. That's all going to be outlined within the course room. And they even break down estimated hours. So you should have a pretty good idea how many hours per week you should be spending in that classroom. If you add these up here, you know, between the preparation, your lectures, your discussion, it's all broken down for you, how much time you should spend each week in the course room. And then again, we see the course schedule. And there's a reason why we put this course schedule everywhere. We want to make sure it's available to you. So if you can't find it in one area, it's always going to be there somewhere. You're going to be able to find it. And Danielle, can you explain them a little bit about the Safe Assign?
Sure. Take a look. I lost it. Darn it. Okay. If you take a look at, if you open up the PDF, it'll kind of explain it all out to you. But pretty much when you right here, so you can submit your assignment to Safe Assignment, and it gives you the instructions on how to do that. I'm not going to walk you through that. But it's really what it is a tool to see how close it is to another individual's work, or close to being possible plagiarism, if you will. So it's just a, I don't know what the factors it uses, but it uses some sort of computation in order to ascertain whether or not it is similar to another individual's work or not. But you can submit it this way, and this is the instructions on how to submit it. It shows your originality. That's the word I'm looking for. It's kind of like a Turnitin. If you're familiar with Turnitin, that's pretty much what this is. It's trying to ascertain the percentage of originality. Now, of course, it's going to be a little off sometimes, particularly if you're in a doctoral research course and you're writing your own research and you're submitting your own research multiple times. It's going to come up with a high percentage. But in cases where you're in your first intro level classes, it should be relatively low, unless you use a lot of cited evidence. But it's a tool to use just to make sure that your writing is getting stronger and it's getting more original. It's the best kind of way to go through it.
Okay, thanks. All right, so the safe assign information, the participation discussion threads, etc., is all laid out in this area. So that is the course overview. So if we go to the assignment criteria, there we go. Again, this is where the important stuff comes, okay? The grading scale, the grading breakdown, the grading philosophy. This is going to give you an exact knowledge of how your work's going to be assessed each week. So you can come in here and look at these different rubrics that have already been laid out for you. So that way you know exactly how you're going to be graded. And I know the faculty here, whenever they grade, they will literally have the rubric up while they're grading because they're grading right off of whatever that rubric has outlined. So make sure you're also looking at the rubrics to see how your work's going to be assessed. That takes the guessing game out of what your grade's going to be and what your faculty members can be looking for whenever they grade your work. Now, when we get into the course modules here, here's where we're talking about the modules 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as you can see here, module 1 up top covers weeks 1 and 2. So once I enter that module, then I have any resources that may be put out there for you for that week, which we talked about earlier in the PowerPoint. As well, here's your module 1 discussion question. So if you click in here, you're going to see what your discussion topics are. And Danielle, discussion questions, the main post each week is due by Wednesday, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So by Wednesday of each week, you have to come in and post your main answer to whatever that discussion question is. And then by Sunday, Danielle, correct, you have to reply to 2 other student comments.
Well, by Saturday, the course ends 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, Saturday. By Saturday, you have to reply back to 2 other students. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Whenever you get in here and you start reading other people's work and you're going to pinpoint whichever ones you want to comment on, and again, that's a minimum of 2. If you want to comment on more, that's great as well. But again, just make sure that high level of detail is there. So whenever your faculty member reads it or whenever another student reads it, they know exactly what you were talking about whenever you're replying back to that posting. And then we have the assignments that are going to be due during each one of these modules. Now, we've been talking about these sync sessions, but we really haven't talked about how to get there yet. If you scroll down here a little bit further under communication tools, you're going to see the sync session tab. So again, as Danielle told you earlier, you're going to be turning your work in before the sync session happens, so that way your faculty member has a chance to review it. And then when you come in here, you're going to join the room. And Danielle, you're probably using this first one here, right? The information.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct. And if there's any doubt, just go back to my initial announcement and it tells you exactly what link to use. But it is that first one, yes.
Yep. And unfortunately, the way the system's set up here, sometimes you may come in here, you may see a couple of these different rooms open. But what Danielle just said is important. If you're never sure which one you should be clicking on, like this one here is called Information Security Systems. If I go back to her announcement, and somewhere under here I saw her sync session announcement. She tells you exactly which room you should be getting in. Somewhere here. There it is. And right here she tells you exactly which one you should be accessing. And then once you get in there, you'll see your other students and faculty members in there at the designated time. Okay, to kind of cruise down through here, I'm going to kind of skip over the URF resources because I'm going to come back and talk about that at the end. Your faculty contact info. If you have any questions for your faculty member, right there's going to be their email address. Ask your instructors if you have any questions at all. You can also leave questions in this area for your faculty member. The only thing that I ask is you never want to leave any questions about grades or personal information in here. Because Danielle, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is kind of an open area. Anybody can see this, correct?
That is very much correct. So if you're putting any sort of personal information, the whole class is going to know about it. So that's something you do not want to do. That's something you might want to definitely, that's something you definitely want to leave for a email. So that's when you would email me directly at danielle.rowell@ufairfax.edu if I'm your instructor. And email me and tell me, hey, there's some sort of personal issue going on. I'm going to be in the hospital. Something happened, yada, yada, yada. That's when you would discuss those things. Or grades would be in a personal email. But all these forms, anything you post to the course is accessible to everyone. Be aware of that, please.
And Danielle, for some weird reason, it duplicated your faculty information and send an email. I don't want to delete it out, but I don't know why it made two of them. But I guess when they rolled the course, it must.
I don't know. I'll fix that.
Yeah, sometimes whenever they roll, you get duplicates of stuff. But anyway, if you want to send your instructor an email, you can just send that email. And then from here, you can go to all users, all groups, or you can kind of pick and choose who you want to send this to. So if you want to do select users, and then from here, if you want to send me an email, I'm right here. All right. So if you want to kind of pick and choose who you're going to send to, you can do that.
Scott, there's also a place in the discussion boards. If you click on the discussion links, I don't know if I'm jumping the board, but there's something that says, it's there's a cyber cafe where you can have open chats with everyone. Yep. But there's also that little box right there that says ask your instructor. You can actually just click that on and post something. Again, the entire class will see it. But for instance, let's say you're finding that maybe a link is bad in the course. Maybe there's a link bad. And you'll say, oh, hey, Dr. Rowell, this link isn't working. That way the whole class sees that the link's not working. And then we can, troubleshoot it and get you a good link, get you something you need. Because sometimes you may not be able to get me because, because you just posted it like, I don't know, you posted it, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning. But, you need an answer right now maybe, and I'm not going to be logging in until later on that day. Guess what? Your cohorts may have the answer to your question. So it's kind of nice to have that Cyber Cafe option or Ask Your Instructor option. But again, that's all public.
I'm glad you said it because it made me think of something. If you haven't already done it, I would highly recommend to everyone that you download multiple browsers. Don't just use one browser because I see this all the time. Sometimes something will work in one browser and it won't in another browser. So I highly recommend if you're just using one browser, download a couple other ones. Download Chrome or download Firefox so you have multiple browsers. So if you run into any issues, you can always test it out on a different platform. But yeah, and then thanks, Daniel, because I was going to get down to this, but you pointed out before I had a chance to get to it. This is another way you can get to your discussion thread. So if you just want to come in and do a discussion, you kind of want to take a shortcut instead of going through the course modules, you can just go right to that discussion thread and then post right to it. So we have, let's see, we've covered just about all of these so far. Now, some of these tabs here you're not going to have because as a student, you don't have all the tabs here that your instructor is going to have. But the one that I really want to pick out, and I want to do it last, is this UOF resources. When I came on board, this is one of the first things I wanted to put in the classroom. So if you ever need information, you don't have to go fishing for it in a bunch of different places. The Webliography, your faculty member, they're just going to put interesting articles out here that are recent that apply to your class. So if you're looking for any supplemental readings, you can come into this Webliography. And below it here, the Student Resource Center. This is going to open up another web page. And here's where all that important information is going to be at, okay? So if there's any specific documents you're looking for, like the student handbook or the dissertation handbook for any of our dissertation students, you always have those accessible to you. As well, in the Resources tab, the academic calendar, that's a biggie for anyone traveling. If you're trying to schedule vacations like on our downtime, you can see here we're mapped out We're mapped out to January 2019, so we're mapped out there a pretty long way. And actually, pretty shortly here, you'll see probably 2020 going up, seeing that we're into the new year already. There's another link here for Blackboard support. So again, you may want to go through, bookmark all these pages. That way you always have them. You have your student handbook, any type of financial aid information you may need, FAQ information. This is a real big one right here. Link to the library site. And there are just a ton of different tutorials, books, articles, etc. out on the virtual library. And again, you can access 24/7 and be able to query all these different databases that we see listed here. And then tuitions, fees, all up-to-date information. And again, all this we did here was just put a bunch of hyperlinks in to all the important areas that I thought would be relevant on the UOF webpage. All right, so if we get back off of resources, we have our online services. And again, these are these important numbers you probably want to write down, or you can just program them in your cell phone. Your textbook information, tips for success. This is a big one right here that we put up here for you. And again, make sure you go out, look at these. They're going to talk about making sure you have the right equipment, the right hardware, software, etc., as well as just some basic tips for you to be able to be successful in the course room. I'm not sure about everybody else. I'm a little bit goofy. I literally every Sunday I make my schedule out for the entire week. That way I know that everything, every meeting, every email I have to send, anything important, I map it out for the entire week and I scratch it off. And I don't go to bed until I'm done. Everything's scratched off for the day. I'm not saying that's a perfect system. I'm saying that system works for me. What I'm asking everyone to do is find a system that works for you. Make sure that you're scheduling time in throughout the week to be able to get your coursework done. Try to find, I know it's tough because my kids were younger whenever I was doing my doctorate degree, and they're trying to juggle 4 or 5 balls all at the same time, family, work, other responsibilities can be difficult. It's a lot easier if you try to pre-schedule stuff out. So try to find that quiet time where no one's going to bug you, you can get your stuff done. Or just find time to be on your lunch break, any free time, try not to waste it, try to take advantage of it and be able to use that as an opportunity to get your coursework done. And as Danielle said at the beginning, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have questions, that's what we're here for. Always reach out to us. Like I said, there's one thing we definitely are successful. So it's not going to be, you're not bugging us. Okay, you're not a burden. This is what we're here for. So if you have those questions, always make sure you reach out to us and ask us.
I would also say, try not to wait till the last minute to do the written assignments, because I see a lot of people do that. And I understand that sometimes, work takes precedence. I get that. You're full-time working individuals. But try to do it in chunks to get it, incrementally done throughout the week, because so many things can go wrong that will prevent you from submitting it on time. PC failure. A big one is you having a major question about a major component of the assignment, but you're waiting to the 11th hour to submit it. So, it's 11 o'clock at night Eastern Standard Time. I'm in bed. Most of your cohorts are in bed. No one's going to be there to answer that question for you, and it's due in an hour. So trying to not wait till the last minute to write assignments. That's the best way to get success.
And one question I have a lot from students, and we are all working professionals here. We get these questions all the time. Listen, I'm going on vacation for a week, or I have to go out of work for a week. Can I work ahead? You can work ahead. However, you cannot post discussions before they're due. What I mean by that is, let's just say in Module 3, whatever week that's going to be, let's say it's week 5, you're not going to be putting as much time in that week because you have to go out of town for work for a couple of days. You guys come in here, see what the question is, research it, type it out, email it to yourself. That way, when the week starts, all you have to do is jump in and then post it. So if you want to work ahead in that way, you can. But with the discussion threads, because they're interactive, you have to be participating in that assigned week. Same thing with assignments. If you see something's coming up due and you know you're going to be out for this couple of days, you want to get a jump start on it, that information is always out there for you, so you'll always be able to see what's coming up in the future weeks. And that really took us through the Student Resource Center. There's another link for tech support, and another link also if you had any Blackboard questions. The Blackboard how-tos talks about how you reply to a discussion post. So if you're not sure, it's going to baby step you through how you get into discussion boards, how you reply to a post, and how you can interact. But again, that UOF resources, that's where all this stuff's going to be found at. Okay, so if you're not sure how to send an email or how to submit an assignment, all that's going to be under the Blackboard how-to area. And again, how I got to this is in the main page, left-hand side, the UOF resources. And then once you click on that, you go into the Student Resource Center. And then from here, you're going to see all those links that we just ran through. And again, you can also bookmark this site as well. That way you always have as a reference. All right, that is pretty much the class in a nutshell. Like I said before, the very first class you take is always the hardest one, right? Because not only are you trying to learn all the content, but you're also trying to get yourself on a system and kind of rearrange your schedule to be able to fit everything in. Trust me on this, I've been there before. After the first class, it gets a lot easier after that. But what I'm asking everyone to do is find a system that works for you. Don't just jump into week one with no plan in place. Map your week out, make sure you're putting enough hours in, as Danielle had on the schedule there, so you're putting enough hours in to be able to get all your work done. And the last thing you want to do is try to wait till Saturday and Sunday and put back-to-back 10-hour days in. It's difficult. Try and stretch them out, plan it out accordingly throughout the week. All right, with that, I want to open up for any questions that might be out there. And let me ask you this, how many people are taking 70-20 as their first class? Well then, if you're taking 70-20, you're definitely going to be seeing Dr. Rao again very, very shortly. That is the first course. If you're taking the CISSP, that is the first one. All right, with that, again, any questions at all, you have our contact information. Always feel free to reach out to us. Hey, everyone, I wish you a really happy semester. And if you have any questions at all, just let us know. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a great night.
Night.
Thank you.